On the topic of confronting fears, we were actually speaking just before we started this interview about the sudden change in finance ministers that we heard about last night. What's your take on that?
I'm shattered. I tried not to get too depressed this morning because I always believe there is hope, and every challenge that comes our way, we must turn into an opportunity, and it's how we overcome it. But this is a real shock. We've got so many challenges in this country, and the rest of the world is watching us. And now for a president to just fire the Minister of Finance like that is just unacceptable. Someone who had such respect and credibility as Nene, he was groomed by people like Trevor Manuel, Tito Mboweni, and despite all the other issues facing our country, the corruption, the scandals, that are really affecting us very badly in terms of our ratings and the rest of the world, having a good finance minister was such an important part of our going forward. And now that's just, for me, been taken away like the rug being pulled under you. And somebody put in who we don't even know, who does he have the credentials to run such an important portfolio? It's one of the most important positions in this country that's going to take us into the future. And when youngsters now start looking and saying, wow, what's going on here? Is there a future overseas? Look at what's happened to the rand already. How's it going to rally back? It's so sad. I am so saddened by this turn of events. I cannot tell you.
What does this tell you about our current political situation and our current state of affairs in the country?
We're actually at a crossroads, I believe. We're really at a point, the worst point in our history, of how do we go forward now. I know already a few years ago there were people like Dr. Mampela Rampela who never wanted to enter politics. And unfortunately, her party was a disaster. It didn't work out. But she only entered politics because she believed she needed to take a stand against Jacob Zuma. COPE was formed. I had such huge visions for COPE because when they started COPE, it was really because they were not happy with the turn of events. How Thabo Mbeki was just ousted and in came Jacob Zuma. And COPE, sadly enough, didn't work out. So we're really at a crossroads that we have to all stand up and be counted now. Gone are the days that we just vote for because, well, our forefathers did, we had to do it. We have to vote now and say, this is the way the country has to go. We want no corruption. We want efficient, effective governance. We want rule of law. We want to uphold everything that the Constitution stands for. We want to create a future that our children can be proud of. And I'm extremely worried that if we don't, in the next few years, get it right, we're in trouble. So we're teetering, for me, on the brink of disaster, but we have got the opportunity to get it right if we all take a stand now. We saw how our students take a stand against university fees. We've got the ability. And I think as a country, we haven't done very well in taking a stand. In Europe and those countries, they've done it for centuries. They will take a stand. And I think it's time that we have to be careful when we vote, all of us vote in the 27 municipal elections, in the 2019 national elections. We need to make sure we do our research. Which is the party that can take us into the future? So, I think there's a lot that now needs to be reflected and introspection.